Welcome into OutKick the show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. Appreciate all of you hanging out with me on the Thursday edition of the program here. We got a lot to dive into. Right off the top, I am not doing an OutKick show tomorrow because I'm headed down to Tuscaloosa for the Georgia-Alabama game. I'll be there for Big Noon. I'll be there for Fox News. And I'll be there doing maybe I don't know how many interviews Trump is going to do, but I'll be interviewing Trump on Saturday at the Georgia-Alabama game. Should be a lot of fun. It will be distributed through OutKick and Fox News and everywhere else. I'm going to talk about this in a sec, but no surprise. But just to be fair, we have offered Kamala Harris and her campaign, I will travel to any football game in America that she wants to go to. I know that she and Tim Walz are making a real play for football fans. I will travel to any football game in America. We have said this to her campaign. There is an offer to her as well. I will travel to any football game in America and conduct an interview of Kamala Harris. Again, anywhere in America at a game of her choice. They have not gotten back to us yet. Trump did, and I'll be at Georgia, Alabama with him on Saturday. PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. With PrizePicks, you against the number, you can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000, and I've got a winner for Thursday Night Football for all of you. Get your pens, get your paper ready. You get $50 if you use code OutKick and you want to play along with us. First of all, guaranteed winner, we get Caleb Williams over 1/2 passing yards. Boom, check mark, I'm in on that. Then, Dak Prescott less than 262.5 passing yards. That is Dak Prescott less than 262.5 passing yards. Malik Neighbors more than 72.5. I've liked what I've seen from him in his growth. Wide receiver for the Giants, more than 72.5 passing yards for him. CeeDee Lamb, more than 82.5 passing yards for CeeDee Lamb. All right, receiving yards. If we hit on this, it pays out at 10-1. All right, one more time, Caleb Williams, free square. Dak Prescott, less than 262.5. Malik Neighbors, more than 72.5. CeeDee Lamb, more than 82.5. If you hate me, if you think, you know who the biggest moron on the entire planet is? It's Clay Travis. Take the opposite side. Fade me. Run in the completely opposite direction. You still get $50 if you use the code OutKick, and you can brag to your heart's content if I'm wrong and you fade me and you look like a genius because I'm such a moron. Guess what? Whispers, Joe Biden style. I win either way. But go get signed up right now because so do you. You get $50, prizepicks.com. Use the code OutKick. And remember, $50 when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. Okay, tomorrow, super busy day. I'm headed down to Tuscaloosa after we do Clay and Buck and after I do Fox News. And I can't wait for Georgia, Alabama. I told you that I like Alabama, and I like the under in this game. We had a big discussion about it yesterday, Kelly Stewart and I encourage all of you to get your bets in because I absolutely love Alabama to win outright and the under to hit. We're going to have a super busy day. I'm going to be on Big Noon in the morning. 9:45-ish, I think, Central Time, covering this game for Fox. Then I think actually earlier than that, I think I'm scheduled to be on Fox News on Fox and Friends. And then in the evening, I am interviewing Donald Trump in Bryant-Denny Stadium for the Georgia-Alabama game. Now, I said this right off the top, but I want to emphasize it again. You guys know I'm voting for Trump. I think he's the better option. But we reached out at OutKick to both campaigns, and we said, hey, look, Tim Walz tried to claim that Democrats have won back football. They called him Coach Walz. He has bragged that Democrats are now voting for football fans. I think there is a very strong chance that football fans are going to decide this election. That is football fans in Georgia, football fans in Arizona, football fans in Nevada, football fans in North Carolina, in Wisconsin, in Pennsylvania, and Michigan. I think a lot of men are going to make a decision between Trump and Kamala, and a lot of those men are going to be football fans. So we said to the Trump campaign, hey, like to do a football interview? We got it set up. Georgia, Alabama, biggest college football game of the year so far. I think the Trump team smartly said, we want to reach out to the OutKick audience. We want to reach out to football fans across America. Clay, we're going to do the interview with you. No response from Kamala Harris's team. Now, they claim that Democrats are going to be voting football, that they've taken back football. They brag about Tim Walz being a former high school football coach. I will be fair. Open invite to Kamala Harris's team. Maybe they're still trying to decide which game they want me to go to. But I told her, any football game in America, I will show up and I will interview her just as I'm interviewing Trump. So far, they have not responded. So that is the background. In addition to everything else going on, hope to see a lot of you in Tuscaloosa. There is going to be a crazy environment there. You guys know I talked about it yesterday on the show. I think college football is the best thing in sports in America and one of the best things that exists in America in terms of just pure fun. And so I think that that this should be a lot of fun. I can't wait. I'm going to have my 14-year-old with me. He's a great kid. Only flaw so far that I can tell is that he is an Alabama fan. He is ecstatic. He was talking about it with me last night about how much he remembers from the Joe Burrow versus Tua Tagovailoa game when he was just 9 years old. Now he's 14. And I'm going to be honest with you, as I sit around now as a dad, it blows my mind that 5 years from now, he'll be away somewhere in college. Hopefully 5 years from now, I'll still be the dashing, incredibly good-looking man that you see on your screen right now. But he was 9 years old 5 years ago. The jump from 9 to 14-year-old is a lot. The jump from 14 to 19 is a lot, too. Again, everybody talks about how quickly those young years pass. And when you're in the middle of them, especially if you have multiple kids, it doesn't feel like it's passing very fast. But now I look back and I'm like, I can't believe it's been 5 years since we were at that LSU-Alabama Classic game in Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'm glad that I've had my kids on the road for a lot of big events. I've tried to take them all over the place with me, so I will have my 14-year-old with me all over Tuscaloosa Friday, Saturday. I can't wait. I'm excited for the game. It should be pretty fantastic. So that is what is going on. A couple of other things that are out there. I didn't even see this. Bobby Barak, who's one of our writers at OutKick, sent me a link yesterday, and he said ESPN has an article up about you, and they accuse you of queer phobia. I'm not really even that familiar with the term queer phobia. I guess, is it homophobia? I mean, Adam, this is probably a Google search that you didn't anticipate that you were going to have. Adam is the fact checker here. Adam, is there a difference between homophobia and queerphobia, or are these synonyms? Because I'm familiar with homophobia. I'm not familiar with queerphobia. They said, I'm telling you this truthfully, they said that I was queerphobic, and that was why I had been critical of the way that the WNBA had responded to Caitlin Clark. So let me first say this. I was wrong about the impact that Caitlin Clark was going to have on the WNBA. I did not think it was possible that one player could come in and basically quadruple the ratings that the WNBA would have otherwise had. Caitlin Clark, in terms of pro-team sports impact, is the single most influential athlete that I have ever seen in my life. Let me repeat that. In terms of team sports, basketball, hockey, baseball, football, whatever team sport is out there, lacrosse, not golf, not combat sports, right? Team sports, not tennis. I have never seen an athlete produce a differential in audience like Caitlin Clark has. She, this year, for both women's college basketball and now the WNBA, is the single most influential audience grower in the history of my life as an American team sports fan. Now, again, there's a difference between combat sports. There's a difference in UFC, boxing. There's a difference between tennis, individual competition sports. I'm talking about team sports. We have never seen anything like this in terms of her overall impact. And so this is incredible. I think she's had one of the most successful years, if not the most successful, relative to growing audience in the history of team sports. I can't think of anybody more impactful. Okay. Now, Adam tells me that queer phobia is hatred directed towards members of the LGBTQIA community. Queer phobia I'm reading. Queer phobia includes homophobia, biphobia, transphobia, all other forms of hate. So queer phobia. Let me be clear here. I love lesbians. Anyone who has ever told you that Clay Travis hates lesbians is a dirty, rotten liar. I have been a fan of lesbians for as long as I knew lesbians existed. No one loves lesbians more than me. I certainly don't have biphobia. What is this? Biphobia? Look, if you're a hot chick and you like girls and you like boys, I'm going to just say it again. No one has ever been a bigger fan of you than me. I love the bisexual community, women. I love the lesbian community. No one loves you more than me. I am your greatest ally and advocate. Don't believe anyone who tells you otherwise. Hot lesbians, you've got a fan in Clay Travis. Hot bi chicks, I got your back. Fist in the air. If you need a marcher, I will lead that parade. I got your back. Trans people, I don't care. Look, I'm not transphobic. If you decide that you want to cut your dick off and that's going to make you happy, I think it's crazy. But if you're an adult and you want to cut your dick off, more power to you. I don't know what they do with the dicks. Do they just like, where do they send them? Is that a biohazard? Is there somewhere a big pile of dicks that guys used to have that they don't use anymore? Can they take those dicks and give them to the men at MSNBC so they actually have penises? I don't know. Can they amputate? Can they give them an extra appendage so that they actually have a penis? I don't know. I'm trying to be a giver. I'm trying to be a helper. I don't care if you're an adult and you decide that you are in the wrong body and you want to live as a gender that you're not. I am in no way transphobic. I don't think anybody who's a kid should be able to decide that they want to have surgery to change their gender. Just like, and I say this as a dad of 3 kids, if I took my kids, I'm going to take my 14-year-old to the Georgia-Alabama game this weekend. If I took him instead of the Georgia-Alabama game, if I brought him back, and when we got back home, I said, hey, my wife says, Clay, how was the weekend? Like, it was great. Amazing time. I made one decision you might not agree with. It's like, oh, really? What did you do? Well, on Saturday, we decided that we should go to a Tuscaloosa tattoo parlor. And I took our 8th grader, and I took him into the Tuscaloosa tattoo parlor. And he was so excited about it being an Alabama game day. I got him on his entire chest a gigantic Bear Bryant ghost standing next to Nick Saban alongside of the goalpost in Bryant-Denny Stadium. And then I really wanted to class it up. So on his stomach, I got a Roll Tide and a gigantic elephant. And I just want you to see it. I know it's a little bit red right now, but son, take your shirt off. Show your mom the tattoo that I bought for you. If I did that, my wife would murder me on the spot. I'm not kidding. I think she would go to the gun safe. I think she would get a pistol. I think she would walk right up to me. I think she would shoot me in the head. And I'm not sure a Tennessee jury would convict her for killing me for getting her son an entire chest Alabama tattoo. 14 years old. Most of you out there listening to that right now are saying, you know what? Yeah, that's a justifiable homicide. You would be a moron if you took your 14-year-old son and you got him an entire chest tattoo of the Alabama Crimson Tide, even if it's got a classy Bear Bryant ghost, even if it's got a Nick Saban, even if it's got a really well-defined, it's hard to keep a straight face, a really well-defined gargantuan elephant on his stomach, and even if the Roll Tide is, in a bit of an upset, spelled correctly, even if all that were true, she would be justified to kill you. And most of you out there saying, yeah, you shouldn't get a 14-year-old a tattoo. Why in the world would you cut a 14-year-old's boobs off then? If every single one of you out there is like, yeah, that would be crazy. What kind of parent would let their kid get a tattoo at 14 years old and have it for the rest of their life? What kind of parent would chop their daughter's boobs off or cut their kid's dick off? I'm sorry to be blunt, but this is bonkers, okay? So I'm not transphobic. If you're over 18 years old and you want to cut your dick off and you want to donate it to the MSNBC anchors who don't have one so that they can have one, you're a great gifter. Congratulations. I don't think it's a good choice, but you can do it because you're an adult, and lots of adults make bad choices. It's not transphobia. I'm not homophobic. I'm not queerphobic. I got a crazy idea. Except for lesbians who I love more than anyone, I want to treat everybody the exact same. So that's my response to whatever loser at ESPN is writing a hit piece about me. No one loves lesbians more than me. If we need to have a march of attractive lesbians and bi women, I'm very happy to lead that. My fist is raised for you. Don't forget it. New York City Mayor Eric Adams. These are sham charges. I'm sorry. I have almost no faith at this point in time in the justice system in the United States, and I hate to have to say that. But when they charged Trump in New York City, South Florida, Washington, D.C., and Atlanta, entirely based on politics, and when the Biden Department of Justice tried to put their chief political rival in prison for the rest of his life, I said it was a cross the Rubicon moment, and that we were now in a position where it was indefensible to argue that the law was being applied evenly to Republicans, Democrats, or independents. They came after Trump because of his political beliefs. They tried to bankrupt him. They tried to put him in prison for the rest of his life. And unfortunately, and I'm going to talk about this in a moment, Iran's trying to kill him, okay? In addition to all these other crazy people out there that are being egged on by crazy Democrats. Why do I bring all this up? To me, when I read the Eric Adams indictment, he is being charged because people in a position of power didn't like that he wasn't part of their group. And this is bigger than Democrats, Republicans. This is bigger than independents. My position is these charges should have never been brought against Eric Adams, just like they should have never been brought against Donald Trump. I think what happened was Eric Adams got crosswise with the Biden administration over him not being supportive enough of Joe Biden. In particular, based on the illegal immigrants that were flooding into New York City. And they ordered the code red, and that is why charges are being brought against Eric Adams right now. I read these. Look, if getting an upgrade on your airplane flight is worthy of you being charged with felonies, if you're a politician, then basically every politician in America could probably be charged. If getting a little bit more preferential treatment in Turkey is worthy of you being charged, I read it. The quid and the pro and the quo doesn't line up. They're trying to get building occupancy taken care of, and they're arguing because Mayor Adams got better seats that he was trying to get the fire alarm signed off on by the New York City bureaucracy in a faster manner. I wouldn't convict here. I told you that based on the allegations in the Trump New York City case, I would have been a not guilty on that verdict. I would be a not guilty on Eric Adams, too. And I think it's important to stand on principle over Republican, over Democrat, over independent. The decision that Trump will have to make, if he is attorney general, is, I think, of who his attorney general would be, is, I think, probably the most consequential personnel decision that Trump would make in his entire presidency. Because we have to restore faith justice, honesty, transparency to our Department of Justice. And I say this as a lawyer, that I am incredibly troubled. We do not have a fair and impartial justice system. Justice is not blind. The Biden administration has treated people differently based on their politics. That's wrong. And we cannot allow it to occur going forward. We can't let Joe Biden get off on clear violations of the law. He had classified documents from when he was a senator that he had no ability to retain. He bragged about it on tape to his biographer. They found that he willfully retained these documents, and then Robert Hur said his brain didn't work well enough for him to be charged with a crime. Meanwhile, they're trying to bankrupt Trump, put him in prison for the rest of his life. I'm not going to stand for it. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to be on principle here. Eric Adams is being treated the way he is because he got crosswise with the Biden administration, and they're trying to make an example out of him. That is my opinion. Iran assassination attempt. I want to take you back in time. 1993, Bill Clinton was recently in office. He had won election in November of 1992, beating George H.W. Bush and Ross Perot. Newly elected President Clinton, early in the spring of his first term, is told that there was a very detailed attempt, a plot, to assassinate George H.W. Bush by Iraq in the wake, if you'll remember, of the first Gulf War. What did Bill Clinton do? He rained down holy hell on Iraq and said, we will not countenance, we will not permit, we will not allow a foreign adversary to plot and plan to assassinate a former president of the United States. I give credit to Bill Clinton because his response there was entirely accurate. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, if we find out that a foreign adversary is plotting to try to kill one of our presidents or one of our former presidents, we have to rain down holy hell on them. We all know now that Iran is trying to assassinate Donald Trump. They want Kamala Harris to be president of the United States. Iran hacked Trump's campaign. They shared information that they got there with the Biden-Kamala campaign. Biden knows that Iran is trying to kill Trump. Kamala knows that Iran is trying to kill Trump. They haven't done a single thing to Iran to hold them accountable for attempting to kill Donald Trump. I'm sorry, that's unacceptable. Trump is right that they should rain down holy hell on Iran and make it clear that this is unacceptable. And I actually believe if Trump is elected, that if he found out there was a plot to kill Barack Obama or Joe Biden, and Iran was trying to do it, or North Korea was trying to do it, or China was trying to do it, a foreign adversary, Russia, was trying to do it, I think Trump wouldn't stand for it. I think he would rain down holy hell on the country that was trying to conduct that assassination. It's the right decision, whether you're Republican, Democrat, or independent. And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's refusal to act is, to me, indefensible in that respect. Biden went on The View. I was going to talk about this yesterday. Why did he go on The View? In my opinion, Joe Biden went on The View for the same reason that he had a cabinet meeting last Friday, and for the same reason that he has begun to do more and more media. Because the Biden team is setting up a two-tiered strategy. Think about this with me. Where heads he wins, tails they lose. If Kamala wins, the Biden team is going to argue that Joe Biden is George Washington and that he is the most selfless American president of all time, and that it was only thanks to his incredible nobility and selflessness that the generational leadership was passed from an old white man to a younger black woman, and that Joe Biden is a hero for helping to make it occur that Kamala would become president of the United States. If, however, Kamala loses, then the Biden team is going to immediately come out through their friends in the media and argue that this is the just results for forcing Joe Biden out, and that if Biden had not been forced out, he would have beaten Trump. The polls would have flipped, and he would have been a better option than Kamala, and the Democrat Party elite blew it. He's setting it up. Make it be very clear about what he's doing. He's setting it up so that he wins either way. If Kamala wins, he's George Washington. If Kamala loses, he would have beaten Trump and all the Democrat elites who forced him out, Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, they are all the reason, Kamala Harris as well, that Trump is back in the White House. Either way, Joe Biden is going to come out, in his opinion, smelling like a rose. Either he's George Washington or he was the last bulwark to stop Trump from returning to power, and the entire Democrat Party blew it by forcing him out. Okay. What do we got? PrizePicks. Caleb Williams, over a half passing yard. We cannot lose on that one. Dak Prescott, less than 262 and a half passing yards. Malik Neighbors, more than 72 and a half receiving yards. CeeDee Lamb, more than 82 and a half receiving yards. Last show of the week on OutKick. I'll be with Clay and Buck tomorrow. I'll be on Fox News. I think I'm scheduled for Hannity tonight. And also scheduled tomorrow with my friend Martha McCollum. I will be down in Tuscaloosa over the weekend. Look forward to meeting a lot of you. Big Noon, Fox News, and the Trump interview for OutKick from Georgia, Alabama. Love all of you. Oh, one more thing I wanted to hit. Thank all of you for your incredible support of OutKick. Now, look, I think the idea of what a right-wing site is ludicrous. I don't think that OutKick is a right-wing site. I think we're a totally normal 75 or 80% of sports fan opinion site on a variety of different topics. You may disagree, but I think the growth of OutKick is a testament to the expansive nature of the audience which we serve. But yesterday, I tweeted it out. I want to thank our staff. I want to thank all of you. OutKick was, according to a website called The Writing, RIGHTING, the second biggest right wing or right-leaning site in the entire country. Number one was Fox News. Number two was OutKick. And we grew. This is based on August data. You can go look it up yourself. I shared it out on Twitter. The August data from ComScore, not our numbers. This is the independent arbiter that looks at website audiences, whatever else. Our audience, I think, according to their data, grew 8%. We actually grew more than that, but this is their data. Washington Post actually had a 1% growth. New York Times didn't grow, and CNN declined by 10%. We grew. We continue to grow. FoxNews.com, OutKick is number 2. Incredible influence. I think that's only going to continue to grow. See you on Friday and Saturday. Encourage you to watch our interview with President Trump. Can't wait to see that Georgia-Alabama game. I am Clay Travis. This has been OutKick, the show. DAP, unless you need to ASPAP.